How do you know when a book is going to be good?
A friend recommended it to me. Oh, I read that one last year. Let's talk about it. Okay, I thought I was done with therapy books. Then my therapist lent me this one. The whole time I was reading this, I was like, yes, that's me. It explains everything. My mom says I have a gift for making people feel known. And then I wondered, is that a gift or a curse? There are some people who can't stand it when someone pays attention to them. It's too much. It's too close. So I want to share what I learned from this book, 3 lessons from emotionally healthy relationships. But real quick, can you do me a favor? Just tap that like button. If you're here, it helps out the channel. So thank you. When people leave a session with me, they often tell me things like, wow, I feel like you see me. Or others will say, I feel like you understand me better than anyone else. To be honest, that's never been my intention. I've just been trying to get healthy myself. Like most people, I usually feel more comfortable talking about what's wrong. My struggle with anxiety, my past trauma, or even my struggles with other people. But talking about my emotions, that scares me. Vulnerability scares me. I'm afraid it'll expose me, make me feel weak, or show others that I'm broken. I was raised to believe that being emotional was bad. Now, ironically, as an adult, I work for a living helping others process their emotions. But it's taken me a lot of courage, awareness, and growth to learn to do that. Lesson number 1 is about finding safety. Safety. We don't want to share our feelings unless we believe the person we read with will hold space for us. We don't want to take a risk showing someone how vulnerable we really are. This chapter talks about learning to be seen and known. It's scary to think that someone might actually know us, see us, hear us. We fear it may not be a flattering picture. But as scary as it is, it's also incredibly freeing and beautiful to experience. D.R. Peterson talks about feeling seen by another human being as one of the greatest gifts we can receive. The author shares a story about her first date with a guy named David. On their second date, he surprised her by quoting lyrics from her favorite song. And she realized he had been listening during their first date. He saw her, paid attention. And so she allowed herself to open up to him. But being seen isn't always a positive experience. D.R. Peterson shares a story of a woman who describes being with someone and thinking, thank God he sees me. And then she adds with a bitter laugh, but that's only half true. He sees me, but he doesn't like what he sees. She feared that he saw her pain, her confusion, her mistakes, and therefore couldn't love her. She felt exposed. I'm curious, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever felt really seen by someone and then felt disappointed or hurt by what they did or said afterwards? There are some people who are safe to be open with, and with others, vulnerability is risky. One way we know if someone is safe to be vulnerable with is if they themselves have experienced that safety. If someone has been emotionally abandoned, betrayed, or hurt in the past, they will likely be less willing to trust in the future. We carry emotional scars just like we carry physical scars. We build walls around our hearts to protect ourselves from getting hurt again. But sometimes those walls end up blocking the very thing we need the most: connection. Connection. Remember that? It's also a basic human need. As humans, we're wired for connection. We crave it. We ache for it. But when we haven't experienced safety or connection in the past, we grow up believing we don't deserve it. We carry around this belief that we're unworthy, not enough, defective. And then we find ourselves in relationships where we push people away. We sabotage ourselves. We convince ourselves that independence is freedom, when really it's just loneliness. Here's what I'm saying. Where we experience safety, we can be vulnerable. And where we experience vulnerability, we can create safety. Lesson 2 is that we have a choice. Our emotional life is a series of choices. Do we stay connected or do we push people away? Do we look for patterns in our relationships and try to change them, or do we blame others for our unhappiness? Do we look for the familiar or do we step out and take a chance on something new? Do we blame others for our unhappy childhood, or do we choose to create a different childhood for ourselves as adults? Do we focus on the negative or do we look for the positive? We always have a choice, but sometimes we need help recognizing our choices or even remembering we have a choice to make. Sometimes we need help seeing our patterns, our reactivity, our defenses. Therapy can be helpful for that. Sometimes we need someone to sit with us in the mess and help us sort it out. Lesson 3 is that we can change. I remember when I first read this book, I underlined this quote, then the possibility occurs to you that you aren't simply stuck where you are. You could move, you could change, hope returns. This was such a pivotal moment for me because I realized I am not my diagnosis. I am not my experiences. I am not my feelings. I have feelings. I am not my thoughts. I have thoughts. I am not my past. I have a past. And right here in this present moment, I have a choice. Dr. Peterson writes, "We are always free to choose our response." We cannot change our past, but we can choose to define the past according to our chosen meaning system. We cannot change what happened to us, but we can change how we respond, what we'll continue to do, what we'll create next. Think about that for a moment. I love this quote because it gives me hope. It reminds me that I am in control of my happiness. Ultimately, I choose how to respond to people and situations. I choose what happened to me. I choose what happens next. Sometimes I might need help to recognize my choices, but ultimately I have a choice. And this knowledge changes everything. As I was writing these notes, I was reminded of how many of us spend so much time blaming others, blaming our circumstances, blaming our upbringing, blaming our childhood, blaming our parents, blaming our exes. But what if we flipped that around and said, I choose to not let what happened to me define me. I choose to be happy. I choose to find meaning. I choose to find beauty. I choose to forgive. I choose to release. I choose to let go. If you enjoyed this video, check out this playlist of other videos on overcoming shyness and social anxiety. Thanks for watching.